Good morning. Welcome to Servoy Forge. What is it, what it can do for you, and what you can do for it. My name is Robert Ivens. I'm founder and CEO of Worklazi Software Solutions. I'm based in the Netherlands. Started developing database solutions 22 years ago and 8 years ago with Servoy. So let's talk about Servoy Forge. It's a website that I started in 2005 in the hopes to create a community site, write it my own. Of course, I didn't have the time to do it. So essentially it became like a 2-page, 3-page website. Still, it had some projects on it. But it really started actually in June last year with a lot of the input of the Servoy community, including Servoy themselves, to really get the backing to have a community site, actually. So we had a big discussion on Google Wave, really pushed Google Wave to the limit pretty much. We had to start a couple of new waves because the browser couldn't handle it. And I don't know if we were the reason that actually Google canceled Google Wave, I don't know, but it might be. So anyway, so what is Servoy Forge? Our tagline actually says it best. We're building open source software with the emphasis on building. We provide an infrastructure to build open source software. We help, we promote, so that's what we do. And right now it's the single biggest repository of Servoy open source software, and we're getting more and more projects also from Servoy on our website. We also provide an SVN to put all the code in, and it's community driven and totally independent from Servoy, although Servoy supports us. And instead of writing it our own, we looked around long and hard for the best software to run the website, and we decided to use Redmine, which is a Ruby on Rails open source issue tracker, and much more, which I will show you, and of course Postgres, and of course powered by you all. It's really community driven. So what is Servoy Forge? Each project has a project page. And of course, an issue tracker, which is really important, where you can put all your planned features, but also your bugs and patches, etc., etc. You can create a roadmap, you can create versions and plan certain issues on that version and create a roadmap. There's a new section that also show up on the homepage. And in the end, I want to do more, a little bit more with that. Have some Twitter integration as well. Of course, each project page has a wiki for all your documentation and for the homepage, etc., etc. You can put in documents and files. It provides a forum or boards if you want that. And of course, the Servoy SVN repository and the SVN browser. And it'll actually also show the activity that is done on that project, including what's happening in the SVN repository. It's really nice. And what we also provide is a daily offsite backup of everything. The database, the website, all your projects, all your code in the SVN. So it's safe. So let me show the website. So this is the homepage. You automatically get to an HTTPS connection, so any Wi-Fi hacking, your password is safe. So even though if you use HTTP, you will get redirected to HTTPS. So here you see we put all the active projects. We put them like on the left. It's easier to browse through. So we got like 35 plus projects already. Like I said, the news is there. And here you see the latest projects that are added. And like Jan Blok already said, there's also a Servoy project, but you don't see anything there other than a view into their SVN repository. You see all the activities. So if I quickly go there, then you only have the activity tab, and then you see that even today, I believe, they had these commits and by whom. And of course, you can go to the repository itself. And you can see here on the right the URL of the repository, so you can, if you want, you can go there and fetch the code yourself. So you see here all the branches, the tags, the trunks, and the latest revisions. And you can click in there, or you can say, okay, give me the difference of these two selected. And then you will get this nice inline, or you want it next to each other, side by side. Redmine does it all for you. So it's really advanced, really nice. So you don't really have to go into the repository. You can simply do it all in the web. So here at the top, we also got a projects page. We're going to make this searchable. The new version of Redmine has a search in there. So, because it's a long list, I mean, really. I mean, you can search right here. So let's search for CMS. And then, yeah, I'm not logged in, exactly. CMS, David Workman is announcing today his Sutra CMS is going to be going public. But since I'm not logged in, I'm an administrator, I see all the non-public projects as well. But here you can search on pretty much anything that is on the website, the issues, the news, the documents, etc., etc. The change sets, that's what's in the SVN. Also all the commits. And if it's too long, then you simply untick a couple of checkboxes and you get more specific. So let's say bean, and then you get a lot more. And here you got sort of the totals of what you want. If you say, well, I wanted to check the issues, you click on here and it does it for you automatically. So it's really intuitive. But yeah, if you want to do more, if you want to add issues or add questions, post to a forum, whatever, you have to register. So, so you register here, and then we get an email, we the administrators. That's Patrick and Scott Butler. And then manually we activate those accounts, just to have a little bit of control over spammers. And sadly, spammers come to this side, these kinds of sites as well.
Yeah, we try to really trim, and if we have someone asking to get access with a very suspicious email address, we try to reach it and ask for more information, you know, because otherwise.
If we have doubt, we actually send an email to the person who registered and ask is like, okay, can you tell a little bit more about yourself? Are you real, essentially? And usually we don't get any response, so that's a telltale sign. So, but let me sign in. Okay. Let me. So it's cap sensitive. It gets you to the My page, but so now, okay, I've got here an administration link that you don't have. But here you get my account, the sign out, you logged in as, etc. And as you can see here, Sutra CMS is a project there. But let me go to the My page, which is an interesting page. You can create here your own page. So you can go here to personalize this page. And then here you got a pop-up that says, okay, show me the latest news, for example. And say add. And then here it suddenly has a whole pane with the latest news. I want to have my watched issues, and boom, it gets there. But these panes you can like drag and drop and put them in certain spots. There are sort of containers in there. I don't know if it's really visible. Yeah, you can see the dotted lines. I can also remove this again and say, okay, I want the reported issues, add that there. And here at the bottom, I have two separate panes. So I can put them next to each other as well. So you can create your own personalized page here. Then you say back, which is, it's not back, it's actually commit or do it. So now you have all this here. But actually you had my, the latest news is still there, anyway. But so you can personalize your My page and instead of going to all the projects that you want to follow, you simply go to the My page. Projects that you are involved in show up in this pop-up. So it's very easy to go straight to, let's say, the Gantt module. Boom, you're there. Also, the URL is SEO friendly or even human friendly. You can type it in. It's very simple, projects, and then a project name. So as you can see here, activity, there's a roadmap. So if you have to find some versions, you can put it in there, put issues on it per version, and it says, okay, so many % complete. Here you get the issues. You can filter on it. So here you can say, show me all, but you have to hit the apply. And here under options, you can even add more columns. So I say I want to see percentage done, and I want to have it, let's say, grouped by the status. So now I have two groups, and you can save all that, hit the save button, and it will add to the custom queries on the site. There's a summary, which is standard there, and from there on you can click to, let's say, all the open defects, which is only one. It creates the filter for you. So very handy. New issue, self-explanatory, just a form. You can add some files to it. You see that there are watches here. I can add some news, or you can read some news. I can add news. There's of course the wiki with images that you can put in there. You can add multiple pages. I mean, it's a wiki. You can have forums, the files, even per version, and of course the repository, where you also can browse into the repository and open up and et cetera, and go in and say, okay, show me what's in there. And of course, me as a project manager, I have settings, and I can enable or disable all those modules. It's very powerful. And David Workman said that I could put his project live. So I'm going to do that. So now you can see the Sutra CMS there as well. He's going to have a session later on that. So that's pretty much what the website is about. Any questions so far? It's pretty self-explanatory. Some website statistics. In June we started, so you can see the unique visitors and the actual visits. In the beginning it was really, really low, and then we started growing pretty fast. We got a lot of projects, also a lot of projects from Servoy. So October, November, we got the Gantt module, and we got, I think it was the Commons Framework, that peaked a lot. But you can see the trend lines, the unique visitors going up, the visits also going up, so we're growing nicely. So like I said, there are more than 35 projects on it, and today already announced a couple of more that will be on it, also from Servoy themselves, from the 6.0 plugins and stuff. So, but let's highlight a couple of, there's the browser suite from Patrick Talbot, the velocity report, also from Patrick, Buzzy plugin from Scott. The iPhone application builder is actually from Servoy, and they kind of donated it to the Servoy Forge website and made me project leader. Thank you. So extra work for me, which actually sort of was actually created as a an example application of the solution model, because it actually creates those forms on the fly. Sort of a builder say, okay, this is my data source. I want to have these screens, these fields on it, and create the screens. And suddenly you got an iPhone web app with like no code written. And I created the Gantt module. And then David Workman created the Sutra CMS. And I think it's later today, David is going to do a session on it. So the browser suite, it has a native web browser. Sun Java has sort of a HTML render engine built in, which is really old. It sort of works, but I mean, don't try to render a web page on it. It's pretty horrible. So Patrick created the native web browser bean based on the.
It's a project which is called DayG project. It's another open source library, so which is also based on SWT. SWT being the graphic library which Eclipse itself is based on. So it's quite
yeah. Essentially,
quite
what you have is on the Mac you're using the Safari WebKit.
Mm-hmm.
On Windows you use IE coder.
Yeah, per default. Yeah.
Yeah, and by default, and on Linux you use Firefox.
Yeah.
But it also has sort of a.
There is a XUL runner implementation that you can use, which is which exists on all platforms. Yeah. So it's safe. It's it's basically a Firefox, but embedded.
Yeah. So even if they don't have that browser installed, with the XUL runner, you can still render pages. It also comes with, because it's a suite, it comes with multiple components. There's also a Flash Player Bean. So you can actually run Flash Player, Flash movies, of course not on iOS devices, but on any web browser you can do that. And also well, actually this is only for the smart client, right?
Yeah, smart client.
It's only smart client, right?
Yeah, for now.
And also there's an HTML editor bean that's based on the web editors, the FCK editor, the CKA editor, and the Tiny MCE editor. Pretty much any CMS on the web uses one of those editors. And now you can have this in the smart client on a form, which is really nice. So you can have your rich editor inside your smart client. And also an installer, because there are a lot of components and libraries, an installer to help deployment. The other project that we want to highlight is the velocity report. We'll use the CSS and XHTML to create reports, unlike a tool like iReport. It's very dynamic. So for building complex reports. It's like you have one page that has a certain layout and you want to have a separate page with, or the second page with it on the layout. That's really hard to do with a tool like iReport. With Velocity Report you can do that pretty easily, and you can use templating as well. So any native Servoy objects you can use for data filling. You can use a couple of beans like JFree Charts, and of course Google Charts online as well for chart creating. Or you can let the application server create those charts for you if you don't want to make a call to Google. So like I said, use the CSL and XHTML for layout and templating. And I believe
there will be a session on Velocity Report on Friday.
Yeah. And Benoit Sauvignac also announced that he's going to create a sub-project for this open source, which is simply module, which is sort of a wizard, set a couple of parameters to create a chart, and it will create the code for you that you can put in your solution. So it's another project. The Buzzy plugin. It's very popular. I see a lot of hits on that on the server. What it does, it blocks user entry to a screen. So your application is doing something, you want to give feedback. So it shows the Buzzy cursor. Optional, you can darken the screen like a glass pane on it. It displays a status message with an optional cancel button. So it's, like I said, intended to be used when there's a method running for a long time and there's no feedback. So here's a screenshot of that, so with the glass pane on it. And you can also have like a cancel button on it and update the text. And the iPhone application builder. You can create great looking iPhone applications on it, web apps. And it's, I mean, like I said, it's really point and click to create an interface. I mean, there's no programming involved. It's created by Servoy, like I said, and it's donated. And like I said, it's a nice example of the solution model. Now, the Gantt, which is 100% Servoy native implementation of an interactive. It's not only for displaying, like Jan said yesterday. It's an interactive Gantt chart. It's highly configurable. And like I said, it's a nice example of what you can do with the solution model. And I'm going to do an advanced solution model session tomorrow, where I'm going to use this as a use case. So this is the Gantt module. Some people, you see the colors are off by the beamer. It's actually green and blue. Green is yellow here. But that's actually a tree. It's a real tree. You can collapse those. And that's like redrawn on the fly, and it feels like it's native. And it looks pretty much the same on the web as well, because it's all native. And here is the preferences. So you can change a lot of stuff using the user interface or by code as well. Great API. And many, many more projects and more to come, actually. So there are more announced. So licenses. There are a lot of open source licenses. The projects need to have a license. And there are a bunch of them. Pretty much the first 3 are like, just do with it what you want, but don't sue us license. I mean, that's essentially what it is. Yeah. Then you get the limited GPL, the HGPL, which is what Servoy uses, and then the GPL. The GPL, we can use it because we don't link hard to any code. If you use C or any other language, then you actually can't use GPL code unless you release the whole thing to the public as well. So if you want to use one of these projects for your commercial project, then you can in Servoy. With C, you can't. You have to release it. If you want to know more about those licenses, look at the opensource.org website. All the recognized open source licenses are there. Open source. Open source is free. That's what people always say. Well, it gives you the freedom to audit the code, to alter the code to your needs, to use it for your own project. And open source is not per definition free or gratis, so no money. Free open source software, or FOSS, is. But then again, it's not really gratis either, because somebody is paying the bill. Somebody put all the effort in. So let me give you some numbers. The browser suite, it's an estimate. 1,000 hours to work on only by Patrick, one person. Velocity report, 500 hours to do that. Again, one person. Smart Dock, which is going to be announced, by the way, 200 hours. SVG Bean, 100. The JSDoc Eclipse plugin, 50. Sign tester tool, thank you, Johan. He gave it to Patrick. It's like, you do that? 60 hours. The Gantt module, 200 hours. Okay, part of these projects were sponsored, partly, which is nice. But let's say the developer cost, I don't know, $80 US dollars an hour. Then you get these figures. So that's what went into those projects. 80,000, 40,000, 16, 8, 4, 4, 16. That's a lot of money. So you know that you realize what goes into those projects. But we developers just put it up for open source, and if you want to donate, that's great. So what can you do? Well, you can donate time. Give feedback in the way of bug reports, feature requests. I mean, test it out. Help us finding bugs or make it better. And if you add new feature requests or new features and bug fixes yourself, supply a patch. Give back that code to the project. Or get actively involved in the project. Become a project member. We like you to become a member of the project and help develop it even further. Or even better, become a project leader and open sourcing your existing code or create new one. If you can't donate time or you need a feature really bad, or you're making money with all these projects, I mean like significantly, sponsor a project or a feature. You can do one-time donations. Sometimes people give money, or in Patrick's case, they gave him hardware because he didn't have a Mac, and they wanted to have Mac support, so they gave him a Mac Mini. And Christopher Deckers, who did the DJ library, he didn't have a Mac either, so a bunch of Servoy developers came together and say, okay, we're going to pay $100 each, and gave him a Mac Mini as well, just to get the browser bean working better on the Mac. So that's what you can do. Other companies have done periodic donations as long as a customer using their product. I mean, anything that you can think of to like help the project. And so how to make a patch? Very easy. Simply right-click on your object and go to team, create patch, and it will save a patch. And you can send that. It's a simple text file or diff. So I'd like to have a big thank you to the Servoy community for all your support and your input, and your wonderful code, actually. So without it, we, as Servoy Forge, we would just be a website, empty, no community. So, any questions? Was that clear? Well, we're going to have tomorrow, next to the rooms here, we're going to have a community gathering, which is sort of like a third track. I think it's at 2:30. We're going to have sort of a session where we can discuss new features, new projects that you'd like to see, be it in Servoy, be it in new plugins that Servoy have or not has, and maybe new modules or other solutions. You can discuss it there, and we can try to create a project out of there, and perhaps some development teams as well. So if you want to join that, you're welcome. So
yeah, just let us know your dream features and dream project, and let's make it. Okay.
Participate. Yes.
Not a question, but can I just maybe on behalf of us thank you guys, because you do a huge amount of work. I've had a couple of sort of custom plugins which I wanted commercially over the last entrepreneur, and you think, well, there's some value to that. You know, I'm paying whatever it is to have it developed, and well, maybe I'll try to sell it or whatever. But actually, in reality, there's not a huge amount of money in selling plugins.
Right.
What I've learned is
Yeah.
that to get you guys to do it and then put it out there for the community is we'll all benefit from that, and both from the development of those and other things people are developing. And I think the job you guys do, both as developers and running this, is you know, brilliant for us. So thanks.
Right. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and by putting it out there, then other people can add new features and make the product just richer and richer. So, and you can use that as well then again. So, okay. New Twitter account. Go follow us. We're trying to get some integration going on there and get the news items out and new projects and all that. So you can follow us. So you don't have to go to the website every time to see what changed if you want.
Yeah, and the idea also is to get a new version of Redmine as app.
Yeah,
online
ASAP, yeah.
with new features and
make it even better.
maybe some UI redesign of some kind. But
Yeah.
try to make it as much user friendly as we can. So.
Okay. No more questions? I think we're way ahead of time. Oh, no, we're pretty on time. Good.
Okay,
Okay, that's it. Thank you.
thank you.